to record first. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to Photoshop. So this is from, like I said, from the very beginning. And then I'm going to do, well, actually, I'll even go backwards. Sorry, I'll stop sharing this screen and I'll go to a different screen, which will take you back even one step further because you'll learn something if you don't know it already. And that is here. Okay. So Chimming sent me some photos, and all you do if you don't know it already is you take a JPEG file in this case, and you right click on it, and it says open with, and I open it with Photoshop, and it automatically will open it in Photoshop. And this is a bullet train, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And there's a very specific reason for it. So Jimmy had requested that he wanted this to look like he had taken a pan shot. And a pan shot is going to be that if he was holding his camera still in the center of this shot while the train was moving, it would be blurry. But if you're able to pan with the train, then you could get the train to be fairly clear. So that's pan. And then there's also something called motion blur. And we're going to talk about both of those things. So first things first, something that I tried and I tested this and it worked amazingly. And I hope it works truly amazing for this time as well. So what's happening here is that the front end of the bullet train is cut off. So I thought, okay, I'll expand this left side a little in generative expand so that I can clone or create the front end of this train if I wanted to.
Eric, are you supposed to be showing us that, or are we still looking at these five JPEG TIFF images as you opened it up?
No, are you looking at one image?
No,
No.
5 images.
No, your screen hasn't changed since my screen hasn't changed
No.
since you opened the five images of
We're not looking at Photoshop.
All right, never mind. I will go back and do it the other way in that case. I'm going to stop sharing and I will share my Photoshops. I guess it doesn't, the Zoom won't support it. So here's the image I was discussing. Does that make more sense now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my crop tool and I keep that hidden over here because I don't really use it very often. So there's the crop tool. And it automatically puts the little cropping pieces or on there. And I'm going to expand it to the left 1.5 or 2 or whatever that is. And then down here below, can you see it says generative expand? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. It says generative expand. So I'm going to hit generative expand. And then all I'm going to do is you could type in something. You could type in front of bullet train or something like that if you wanted to try to get it to do that. But I'm just going to say generate because my initial intention was just to give me some space. So I click generate. And it does this online. It doesn't do it locally on your computer. So it takes a minute. Look at that.
Yeah.
Jiming, are you amazed?
That's amazing. Yeah.
That is truly amazing to me.
It is.
It figured out not only that it was a bullet train, it should be this shape. It figured out, okay, I see that it's orange. I see that it's kind of off-white, and I see that it's on a track, and it built all those things.
Can you undo it and do it again, or is it one
Yeah.
shot?
So there's not doing it. And then I have turned the crop tool back on. I'll expand that side and I'm going to tell it to generate. Now, it also gives you three variations, which you see going on the right-hand side here.
Mm-hmm.
The first variation was excellent, so I didn't have to bother.
So you didn't have to give it any more context than that.
No, no more. Now, this
Cool.
one's different, if you notice.
Yeah.
It's got kind of a sharper point to it. So let me see what the second option. That's the second option, which gave me as a first option last time, I believe.
A little
And
blunter.
here's the third option.
Oh,
So the second option is probably the best because it has fewer artifacts and less to deal with. But that can be personal preference too. So I'm going to use number 2.
Pretty
Hey,
amazing.
Eric.
Yes.
Sorry, Will, did you have to say something?
No, I just said pretty amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Is the change updated on a new layer?
It is exact, and that's exactly what I was just about to show
Oh,
you.
perfect. Thank you. I'll wait.
All right, here goes. So now I'm going to show you that this is the variations here. And now I'm going to show you layers. So I just clicked on the layer tab and it showed me this is the one I chose. And this is the mask that it made, et cetera, et cetera. Now, here's an important thing to know is that when you do this, you should, as long as you're satisfied with it, you should immediately hit, in the case of a PC, control or a Mac command. Now both of the layers are selected and merge those layers. And the reason being is that you're going to find yourself working on the wrong layer in many cases.
Hey, what's the difference between flatten layer and merge layers?
So flatten will flatten them together and create a bigger file. Merging them will just put the two of them together and drop any extraneous material.
But you lose all the layers up till then. I mean, so if you had 10 changes and you merge, you get one.
Well, I can merge just 2 layers because all the other, you mean if I made 10 changes on one layer?
Yeah, so no, say you created several adjustment layers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you do a merge, those adjustment layers disappear, right?
Yes, so it doesn't work the same way it does in Lightroom. So
Okay.
those adjustment layers, unless you put them on a separate layer in Photoshop, they're only in one layer.
No, but they were separate layers, and then I did a merge.
Okay.
I get one called background again.
Yeah, so you could merge them, but I would merge them if I'm going to be doing it, I'd merge them selectively. I'd just merge layer 1 and layer 8 if I wanted those two together, or et cetera, et cetera. In this case, I wanted the whole image so that I could now work on it again.
Yeah, okay. So
I can selectively decide not to merge everything.
selectively merge, or if you flatten, do you get a new one? Because there's another control, what is it? Shift control option E.
Yeah,
What is that? Because that gives you a new one, but it leaves all the ones below it.
yes, but all that's doing is really adding a new layer. And when you flatten something, you are still saving a lot of the information, but you can't get back to it in Photoshop.
Well, you can go back to it, but
Only in your history you could go
yeah,
back.
right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right.
How do you select both layers? Do you hold down a shift key?
Yes, you hold down the control key or command key and click. So I'll go backwards and show you. So there's the 2 layers. So I'm on selecting, this is the layer of the tip of the bullet train that was generated by AI. And then I'm going to hit, and I have a PC, so I'm going to hit Control, And I'm going to click again. And now both of these are shown as selected. They're both highlighted. And then I'm going to right click and merge those layers together. All right. So
Okay,
now,
sorry, when
yeah, go
given
ahead.
the new rules, can you use this in a competition?
No,
Okay.
not yet, I should say. Because it essentially created this whole front end of this train, right? AI created this. But like I said, we've had this discussion before. There's a lot of gray area, and this will change in the future, but for now, no.
Right, yeah, okay.
All right. So Chiming's first request was to make this look like he had panned the image, right? And if
Yes.
and if he had panned with the train, then the train would be clear and the background would be blurry. The rest of it, everything that's not moving is going to be, um, in this case, blurry because he's moving the camera with the train.
Right.
All right, so I am going to go to my quick select tool
So why does this look like the train is parked?
because he took it at a fast enough shutter speed that it froze it in place. Is that right?
No,
Yes.
but it didn't blur the background.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
That's what this exercise is, how to blur the background.
Yeah, so we'll get to the interesting part here. So we're going to go ahead and select with the quick selection tool. I'm going to select this train. And I guess this is part of the train down here too. And the wheels are part of the train. So I'll get those.
Better have wheels.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a little extra there that I don't want. So I'm going to hit the Alt key while I paint that. And that takes that out. Okay. So this is selected. So what I want is that I want to be nice and crisp because I panned with the camera, theoretically. But the background, in this case, would be blurry. So I'm going to select the inverse of that selection. So everything except the train is now selected. And then I'm going to filter, blur, motion blur. And motion blur, I've got to move this because I've got all of you guys in the way. And so it's going to show you on the screen as I do this. So right now, you can see this angle. I have to sort of try to match the angle of the train. So I'm going to scoot it up a little bit. And that's about the angle of what this train appears to me to be moving at. And then I'm going to move this distance slider and it's going to create different amounts of blur. So I'm going to go slowly through and I'll stop and it'll do a little blur. And then I'm going to go like that. And it's going to do a lot of blur. And so that's 204 pixels of blur to make it look as if I panned this image. And I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to click off of it so it's clearer for everybody to see. Does that look similar to a pan?
Yep.
And that's what Chiming originally had in mind when he was going to take this picture. And he's going back. You're traveling back to Taiwan
Yeah. Right now, I am in Taiwan.
in a couple of months. When is it?
No, right now, I am here.
Oh,
I'm
you're
in-
oh, okay. All right. So he's going to go take this picture again.
You were right. With the real painting. Yeah.
Right.
So when you did it, you had such a fast shutter speed, it froze everything.
No, I just use a mobile phone, iPhone.
Hmm.
So he's going to take it with a real camera this time.
Yeah.
You have to share with us your picture that you take. It'll be fun to see how you do.
Okay. Yes.
So Eric, you need
Yeah.
to remove from the selection the posts
Uh,
if you're gonna
yes,
get.
I did not
Yeah,
do
yeah, but
that
that's
detail, but yes, you would because those wouldn't,
it
those
should have
would be
been
blurred.
So,
Exactly.
How about the blur at the front of the train on the nose?
It did bubble it a little bit there, and
that's just the
if I had taken
selection.
that picture, it wouldn't bother me. But you could fix it by simply cloning part of this bush into that nose cone.
I think it was the selection was a little broad there.
Oh, it could have been. Uh, so now I'm going to go backwards. No, the selection was okay.
Oh,
Um,
weird.
I think perhaps it was in the original. Well, let's go back. I'm going to go back. No, it just got created that way from the motion blur.
Hmm.
So that could be a touch up. There's always touch ups with all this AI stuff. All right, so now let's think about it the other way. Let's say instead of doing a pan, I'm going to select the inverse again. And now it's just the train. And instead of, if I had my camera set up on my tripod and I was taking a picture of this train going by, the bridge and everything else would remain stationary, but the train would blur if I was shooting at, say, 30th of a second, something like that. And so that's what we're shooting for now. So we're going to do the same thing. And this time I'm going to blur the train. So I'm going to do, oh, by the way, if you can see this pull down menu. So I had gone to blur, motion blur, which is correct. But you'll notice at the very top, it puts motion blur in there again. You don't want to click on that because it'll give you the exact same settings you just had. And I don't want that. I want to do something different. So I'm going to go to blur, motion blur here. So this is just at the very top there. That's just a temporary, I guess, shortcut for you if you wanted to do the same thing twice, I guess.
But it uses exactly the same settings, which you don't want.
Right. I want to do something a little different this time. So I'll go to motion blur. And if I wanted to use the exact same settings, that's the settings I would have gotten. And if I wanted no blur, there it is. And I could even take it up to make it very high, which is going to be too far. I don't think that could be possible, but you could get something like that. And I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to click off of it. And of course, I would have done my posts since my posts are now blurred away. Okay, so let's say we're happy with this image, but we're not done yet. So let's go and we want to do the remove tool, which has become a favorite tool of many people these days. Oh, before I do the remove tool, I'm just going to do a crop on this of something that would be closer to a final image. So we need some distance in the front for the train to go there, but we don't need much in the back. And the trees and a lot of these bushes and things are a little distracting. So I'm going to do image crop. And you notice I used my marquee tool. I did not use the cropping tool to do this because I don't want to generate anything and I don't want to accidentally generate anything. So, and I tend to use the marquee tool to do all of my crops in Photoshop, by the way.
So if you use the crop tool, it fills in?
No, it won't. I can show you the crop tool. And I could use that if I wanted to, but I prefer to see the whole image while I'm making my crop, like I was showing you with the marquee tool.
Mhm.
You could even make it a panorama like this would be nice. But anyway, I'm gonna reverse all this. And I thought I was reversing all that. It's not letting me. Okay, now it will. The reason I like the marquee tool is I can look at it and say, that's about the crop I want. If I don't like it, I can move it around. I can do whatever I want. And I tend to use this as my main cropping tool. So I'm going to do image crop. And now I've got what I wanted there. Now I'm going to use the remove.
Eric, can you fix the aspect ratio on the marquee tool?
Yeah, it's whatever I want it to be. I was dragging it to do that. I'll show you again. Here's the marquee tool. So I could start here and crop it like that. You don't mean changing the aspect ratio of the picture, you're just saying the box that I'm gonna click on?
Yeah, I was thinking like the marquee dashed box that is showing up, can it be made like a 3x4 or a 4x3 or some of the standard
No, no, you
no,
can't.
okay.
It's not programmable to do that, unfortunately.
Is, is
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think the crop tool allows some of that if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. I
I
think in
think you
Lightroom
can.
it does.
I think you can in Lightroom. I'm not sure you can in Photoshop.
Okay, okay. No, that's
Yeah.
good to know. Thank you, Eric.
Okay. And so I'm going to go to the remove tool, which is over here. I call it, it looks like a Band-Aid with stars to me. But anyway, I'm going to take the remove tool, but I'm not going to use it because I'm going to come up here to this dialog box that says find distractions. And I'm doing this as a demonstration because in this case, you see we're starting to run out of time. I don't know if it shows on your screen, but it's telling me I only got another 10 minutes.
I've already started another meeting, so we can jump over.
Okay. You want to send
I'll
email?
send it out to everybody. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I see it says we have 9 minutes left and 41 seconds.
All right.
I'll put it in the chat for everyone.
Okay. So Will's going to send everybody in the chat the link to the new meeting, and then we can all meet up there after this. So
You'll have to sign in again.
So we'll sign out and sign in,
Yep.
yes,
and the chat will show us
The new meeting number. So got to capture it before the meeting goes away. Or at least open the chat, I guess.
so we just need to copy and paste or
There's
What?
a link. Yeah.
yeah, copy the link and paste it.
okay.
All right, so I'm going to say find distractions. And in this case, I want the wires in there because otherwise the bullet train wouldn't be able to run because it runs on electricity. So, but there is under find distractions, you can automatically remove wires and cables from your image. So I'm going to click that. And this is usually for power lines and things you don't want in your image. And I just want to see what it's going to do for this. And there it goes. So it took away all those wires that were here,
But not the post.
not the posts. You'll have to take those out separately. But you could use the remove tool just to take out the post.
Right.
I could do that. And I'm going to, did you see what I just did there?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you again because the remove tool, you don't have to be that careful with it, which is kind of amazing. I'm down into the train, but it ignored the fact that I made a mistake and went into the train. and it's just getting rid of it all by its lonesome.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, it's very smart. So if I wanted to, I could get rid of all that stuff. And like I said, the remove tool has just gone, evolved far beyond its original intent. And I had demonstrated it or used it in beta a year ago, and it was, but it's pretty darn good now. I'm pretty happy with it.
So is it using the area around to clone that area
It's
or?
looking at the pixels around it, but it's also looking at the fact of what's not supposed to be there.
It
And
seems to know context. Yeah.
it
Mhm.
does. It
It
knows a
just,
little
like
context,
it knows the train shouldn't be interrupted. So even though we went into the train, it left it.
right? It knows don't mess with the train because that's your main subject, right? It understands that. And it just does a heck of a job. Now, I'll try one more thing here. See this ivy growing on the concrete? I'm going to take that and see if it understands to make it concrete instead of more ivy. That's a confusing one for it. Yeah, mostly more
Pretty
concrete.
good. Yeah, actually left enough to make you think the plant's still there,
Yep.
just
Yep.
slower.
All right. Let's switch to the new meeting. And you're gonna make me host, Will, so I can share my screen and stuff?
Or you can share your screen anyway, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and go to the chat and grab that.
It should give you the option to leave this and join the new one.
Oh, really?
Just click on the link and it should do that.
Okay, let's see. All right. It says join new meeting and leave and join is what I'm doing. So everybody, if you just click on the link and then leave and join the new meeting.